Oh, here it goes.
What up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the 2Smart Dummies podcast. As always, that's your boy Q.
And it's your host, Big Facts.
Beatty, what's up, man?
Just nothing much, man. Just coming off the docu-series.
Yep, we got the Bulls. The Last Dance is what we'll be discussing today. We got a special guest from the network. Y'all know his voice, the Fun Peruski podcast, the Sexy Suburban Dad podcast. KP, what's up, man?
Man, I'm good. I appreciate you guys having me on. Long-time fan, and so I'm glad that I finally get to be a part of the 2Smart Dummies, man. I love it.
KP on everything this week. We should just call this KP week.
He kind of like Jean-Claude Van Damme back in the day. You know what I mean? So, Van Damme Sundays. All right, man, what do y'all think about this document? Actually, before we get to that, there's been a lot of news and notes in the old NBA. When it's been a roller coaster of emotions, ups and downs, season, no season, season, no season. Now we look like we're pointing to a season again, with the league looking to hold the Western Conference in Las Vegas, kind of build a bubble city. Same thing in Orlando for the Eastern Conference. What do you guys think? Optimistic? Pessimistic?
Only if they're just doing the playoffs. If they're doing anything besides the playoffs, I think you should lock it in. If you get two sites, you got 8 teams in 2 different sites. Man, you can't trust the NBA players. Man, they got too much money. You can't make them sit still. They're going to be having girls running up in and out of there. Whole Nets team going to have COVID-19, and then you're going to have to forfeit.
Yeah, I just think it's a waste of time to have every NBA team divided up by conference at the 2 sites. I mean, half these teams were going to be sitting at home anyway in about a month, so just do the playoffs. Let's get through it.
What, a quarter of them didn't even have a chance, right?
Yeah, exactly. So just 1 through 8 seeds for the East, go to Orlando. 1 through 8 seeds for the West, go to Vegas. Let's do it up, have a tournament, be done with it.
I saw a report that I think the Hawks said that they weren't feeling good about reporting when they opened up mirror. I was like,
wow.
So?
Who cares?
Y'all, don't
Get
worry.
ready for the draft.
Yeah,
They're going to be in the playoffs anyway.
You're going to be home regardless, my friends.
Most importantly, man, nobody's really touched on the biggest disappointment with all this, man. I'm missing, this might be time for us to be getting ready for Big 3 basketball. Ain't that right, KP? There were some exciting things happening.
It really was, man. And you know what? I got to give a big shout out to the Big 3 because we've seen various leagues come and go, but the Big 3 has staying power. I mean, people enjoy it. They definitely have the capital, and I'm glad it's thriving. I really am.
I hope we get that reality Big 3 series. I'm all in for that. I'm more excited about that than the Jordan doc.
Here we go. Here we go.
The thing I'm disappointed about is I wanted to see that kid in the G League, Jalen Green. I was finally going to start watching some G League stuff. Y'all already know which way the G League is headed. College basketball, as we know it, is about to be completely different, which I think is a good thing. Beatty, you and I kind of talked about that. Yeah. But, I think that, the G League is going to start to be exciting now.
G League going to be popping, man. G League might end up being the what? ABA? You know what I mean? Because you're going to get some super athletic kids in that G League.
Okay, so I'm super out of the loop. What channel does G League even come on? Is it just strictly NBA TV?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
Only NBA
That was a dumb question. I just answered my own question.
Yeah. No, you ain't getting that, but the internet and NBA TV.
Yeah. So, fellas, let me ask y'all, did y'all watch Game 6 of the Game 6 the movie last night on ESPN?
You watch it, Kevin?
Watching in parts.
Yeah, I caught the fourth quarter, and I know that they can't do this for every game, but man, the NBA needs to go back and remaster all these games because I feel like that's why kids disrespect the old cats because, you know what I mean? It's not HD. The games are grainy. Even in the 90s, early 2000s, games are grainy. Nobody wants to sit and watch that. Hell, it came on in HD yesterday, and I barely wanted to watch it. So,
I mean, you've already seen all the best highlights of the game, so what's the point of watching the other? The one thing that I did get from the Game 6, though, is I'm going to give more respect to Karl Malone than I've given him, but I still think he's kind of trash.
I agree with you. Hey,
you're a better man than I am. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. I don't really fuck with Karl
Man,
Malone.
he was doing a fadeaway on the same foot. It was like the weirdest shot. It didn't even look good.
Yeah, and then that turnaround.
Jordan could have got that steal, or anybody could have got that steal, whatever he wanted. He literally never looked to his blind side. He just got the ball and he went right, like every single time. If you got there before he went right, I do not think he was that good.
So
one thing that the Game 6. I'm sorry, Q. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Because I was
just gonna say one thing the Game 6 the movie made me realize is how much I missed the NBA being on NBC.
Right.
Just the iconic theme song, the presentation.
Right.
I
Amar
really hope that
Rashad.
they worked something out. Yeah. In fact, I never knew that Buddy used to be in the NFL for years because I would wake up Saturday morning watching NBA Inside Stuff, and for years I thought that he played in the NBA.
Can we
Got to
agree
marry
that
Claire
Amar,
Huxtable?
can we agree that Amar Rashad might be the coolest man on earth?
Gotta be. He's 70-some years old. Look like he ain't aged
Still
in
looks
years.
the same. Man.
He was Jordan's best friend.
Yep. Got to marry Claire Huxtable, Felicia Rashad. I mean, what a life.
He
this
got
dude was leading.
all the exclusive interviews with Jordan. If it was like this time, like when we had social media, and he got all the exclusives from Jordan, you know how big he would be.
Oh yeah. So, real quick, back to Karl Malone. It's always team fuck Karl Malone over here from me.
All
but
right,
and so I've had a chance during quarantine to watch a lot of old basketball. You know, we all work from home. I throw it. You know, so they've got all the hardwood classics and stuff on NBA Prime. So I'm a basketball head. I've seen a lot of these games anyway, but I went back through them all on, and I made the case when I go through and I rank my top 5 by position, and I would default to Karl Malone as number 2. But man, Charles Barkley was way fucking better than Karl Malone.
Way better, man.
It ain't close.
Way better.
It ain't close.
I'm telling you, man. I say it all the time, and I think John Stockton saved Karl Malone's career. I don't think he's nearly as good without John Stockton.
And Jerry Sloan.
Yeah, true.
Add.
Yeah. Put him in position.
Because Charles Barkley would score 50, 45, 15, 15. Charles Barkley was, and it's not like that was news to me, but since it's been so long and you look at the eras and you're like, okay, so Karl Malone, second all-time leading scorer, blah, blah, blah. But you look at Chuck's game and what he dragged this doo-doo team in Philadelphia, and then, was able to take a team as the best player on his team to the finals in Phoenix and almost got there again in Houston.
Chuck was ass in Houston.
He was, but he was still. I mean, he still averaged like a double. He was still at like 15 and 10 or something like that.
Yeah, but sheer rebounding is all about positioning and shit like
correct.
that. Correct.
But let's get to the doc, y'all. So, for those of y'all that have not seen it, spoiler alert. And if you haven't seen it, that's also on you, because literally, what have you been doing? So 5 weeks, man. 5 Sundays, 2 episodes each Sunday. Kind of going over the story of the Chicago Bulls. Keep in mind, this was not a Michael Jordan doc, apparently. Even though he produced it, and
I'm pretty sure this was.
Did the narrative. And before I give my thoughts, I want to hear y'all's thoughts. Big facts. Let's start with you.
I'll let the guest go first. KP, what's your thoughts sporting the Central Arkansas shirt?
Yeah, man, got to rep my school. Proud alumni. So, I will say this. Shout out to Scottie Pippen. I've heard he's had sour grapes over the dock.
Which we got to get into, because I don't know what.
100%.
So, it was very interesting to see that side of the Bulls, because when they had that last season, I was about 13 years old. And so you really get to go in depth on what was really going on, why the Bulls broke up. But one thing that I found out is that Michael Jordan is a sociopath. Yeah. The stuff that he would make up in his head that fueled his passion and his just that killer instinct that he had, it just blew my mind.
Yeah, man, I mean, I like the doc. I mean, it was good. I always like to see good Jordan highlights, you know what I'm saying, the inside information on the Bulls. But, I mean, a lot of this I already knew. I mean, that's the downside of really being a Jordan fan and, researching, reading. And then they left out a lot of the stuff that I wanted to see, you know what I'm saying, in it, because you couldn't get clearance from different people. Like, for some reason, I really wanted to see Jordan when he throwing hands. They didn't put none of that in there. I wanted to let people know Jordan had them hands, you know what I mean?
Really did.
So when he saying let him go like that, he ain't playing, because he put some hands on a couple of dudes. But yeah, man, I didn't like it until probably about episode 5, episode 6.
So here's my thing. Okay, it was an entertaining documentary. I don't necessarily think and it was well done.
Yeah.
But man, like, I'm a Jordan fan. Jordan the GOAT. This didn't change my mind one way or the other. But I thought it was straight up propaganda, man. Like, it was basically just like, and that's why Scottie Pippen's mad. That's why Horace Grant is mad. It basically made everybody look inferior, and it made Jordan purposely.
They were.
What's that? I mean, Scottie Pippen wasn't shit. You know what I mean?
He was, but he wasn't Jordan.
Okay. So
he carried them niggas.
So do a Jordan doc, right? Because Jordan is the one that had the final say and everything. If you were going to do that and make people look bad. And by the way, my biggest unanswered question for this documentary, and I need an answer. Why the fuck was Justin Timberlake in this documentary?
Oh yeah, nobody knows.
Can I get an answer on that?
I think he might have put in some cash on it.
I mean, I know he's a quote unquote owner of the Grizzlies, but so I mean,
like Usher's the owner of the Cavs,
right? Like, why are you in this doc? But
man,
anyway,
I don't view it the same way. I don't think that. Like, I think so. For one, you got to realize that, like you said, Jordan's a sociopath. Jordan's an asshole. 100%. Jordan's arrogant. Like, we knew
gambler.
Degenerate. Like, we knew all these things about Jordan. Maybe not everybody might not know, but we knew. But
I didn't know he was a mark.
But you said what?
I didn't know he was a mark. Like, cats would target him for gambling and take his cheddar. Yeah. Like, what was his name? Slim.
He was also a hater. That's the one thing I realized in this doc is he was a hater, man. He hating on everybody. But
everybody.
But yeah, man, I think that he was actually trying to give his like, he might have edited the video, because I know it's way more footage, so he had a piece in that, and that's probably why Horace is mad. That's why Pippen is mad. They're not mad about what Jordan said in the doc or what was said about them. They're mad about the clips that were chosen, because they know that Jordan had the final say, and they're probably thinking, well, why didn't you put this in? Because you know there's some other shit with Jordan in it that
some unflattering.
Yeah, this was somewhat flat. Like, you get the big stories that you know about, like punching Steve Kerr, some of the cursing people out, the talking to Scott Burrell, which he is probably like a friend. But you kind of only touch on the disrespect to Bill Cartwright. You only touch on the disrespect to Horace Grant. You know what I'm saying? You don't touch on
and that's what I wanted.
Everything.
I wanted, like, the real, because at first I was like, all right, everybody saw the same thing, right? Like, Jordan had a drink in his hand. We're like, oh, we about to get the real deal truth. And we got nothing. Like, it was still just fluff, basically. It was, oh, MJ's great. He's the greatest. When he gets mad, he's great. It was, I mean, we knew all that, right?
This is the most flattering you can be with trying to be, like trying to be real. You know what I'm saying? So they're
which is why I think the doc should have been produced independently, in my opinion. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but all in all, like I said, it was an interesting doc for Jordan heads. Of course, it's like, it doesn't do much for you. Just, hey, I told you so, and you get to see Jordan. But I also don't think it does much in the way of, like, kids that grew up with Kobe or LeBron to say, oh yeah, he's head and shoulders above these dudes. Because I don't really think it did that. I think a lot of people did see it for propaganda.
I don't know. The Kobe part might have opened a lot of eyes, because Kobe has pull. And for him to say those things, and shit, if you watch Kobe, I don't know how you watch Jordan and don't see Kobe. I mean, it's like,
for sure,
it's like a clone. Like, all the actions, the way they move, even like when he's playing around and joking with people, like, it's uncanny how much their mannerisms,
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, their mannerisms are like exactly alike. It's literally like a clone of Jordan. The way he kind of talks, the way he kind of acts. Even the early stories with him coming in, hating on the older guys, not wanting to hang out. Like, all that stuff seems like Kobe.
And he literally said that, hey, I patterned my game after Jordan, so if there's no Jordan, there's no Kobe. In fact, I think I sent a meme to our group chat saying that Kwame Brown has to be the most traumatized player in NBA history because he had to be under both of these guys.
Facts.
So, what episode stood out more than the others? I thought the last episode was really well done. I got to be honest, and this might be a little bit of a hot take, but the Rodman one was not very impressive to me. It wasn't anything we didn't already know, and it was just kind of showed you how big of a prick he was, right? Like, and how much dysfunction there was on that team. But
it was also because they did a Rodman doc like 4 or 5 months ago. So it might have been better if they hadn't done the Rodman doc right before they did this, because now you're not telling me nothing that I didn't see in the Rodman doc. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it was a 30 for 30.
Yeah. I honestly thought one of the most compelling episodes was Steve Kerwin. Really, like
I
learning
agree.
his
Right.
background and learning, the things he went through with his dad. Malcolm Kerr.
I think that was episode 9, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it was episode 9. And so it was just really interesting because I didn't know a lot about Steve Kerr. I just knew he used to be a role player for the Bulls, for the Spurs, and then he became a coach later on. And I think he was front office personnel for the Phoenix Suns for a while. But just learning his story and then kind of learning the similarities that him and Michael Jordan had.
That was
losing
interesting.
their father at a young age, and just what he had to go through, going through that early adversity before he got the chance at Arizona, before his career got going. Another thing that I thought was interesting was the Scottie Pippen episode. Number one, seeing that my former alma mater has not made any updates to that damn gym since the 80s, and I'm sitting here wondering where my money went to pay for that school. But to also see that Scottie Pippen has no real friends because that contract was terrible that he signed, and nobody. I think he was looking at security because he had a lot of people back in Hamburg, Arkansas, depending on him. But it was just like, man, why would you sign that shit? Even if Reinsdorf is saying it's a bad deal. But I got thoughts on Reinsdorf. I'll save it till later. But I just thought it just blew my mind how he could make such a boneheaded decision like that.
Yeah, I wanna save the Scotty part because I got a bunch to say about Scotty.
Yeah, I'll save that.
But I think my favorite episode was episode 6, where they were kind of talking about him getting through the Knicks team, because I don't think that people realize how good that Knicks team was. And then I believe that's also when they showed him playing. Wasn't that when they showed him playing Barkley at the end?
Yeah.
And and this is the thing I say about Jordan when I think about like Jordan and LeBron. Like LeBron has won championships, but I don't think in any point in LeBron winning a championship that at the end of it we said, man, nobody can beat LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Maybe at the end of 2012 we thought that, but that quickly changed in 2013 when they saw the Spurs. When he won in 2013, we thought the Spurs should have won. Then the Spurs did come back and win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's because the league is better now.
But then when Jordan beat Hall of Famers, they literally are crushed. Like, they don't think that they had a chance. Only one that I really thought they actually had a chance would be Reggie Miller.
Nah, because if you listen to Charles Barkley, and John Stockton, Karl Malone, they all were like, we weren't playing Michael Jordan. Like, we were playing the Bulls, and we were here to win. And it wasn't until, game 4, I think, in that Suns series. It was either game 4 or 5 for Charles Barkley, where Charles Barkley had 45, 15, 15, and Jordan put up 50 or something crazy like that. And that's when Charles was like, I can't beat this dude.
Yeah,
I thought I was the best player on the planet.
But still, that's my point. They leave thinking that Jordan's the best player on the planet. I couldn't beat that dude. He's the reason why I didn't win a championship. I don't think LeBron necessarily leaves that impression on anybody.
Well,
I just think it.
Go
ahead, KP.
Well, I was just going.
I just think.
I'm going to be gentleman. Go, please.
I just think it's a better league now. I think that there's more superstars now than there ever has been. I think that your role players are better now than they ever have been, and I think that's been the case for most of the last decade. I think that every team LeBron James has faced in the final is better than any team that Michael Jordan faced in the finals. Except for maybe the 07 Spurs, but I think that Spurs team, I think the Warriors, and the Mavericks. The Mavericks were not better.
I just think that Jordan makes you sleep on the Jazz. That Jazz team was really good. That Seattle Supersonics team was really good.
They were good.
I mean, those were good teams. I think those two teams were better than any team that they played. Like, they played the Jazz twice, and that Supersonics team, I think the second half was a harder stretch. That Lakers team, they had Magic. They were kind of old. You know what I'm saying? They weren't dominant. Portland,
but
I think they got lucky. You know what I mean?
The late 90s was a watered-down league. It legitimately was.
Well, we're going to have that debate next week.
But you just and I'm not going to go too deep into it, but it was definitely a watered down league. If older teams are setting their, like, the best iteration of these teams, the Sonics team wasn't the 96 team, it was the 94 team. The best iteration of the Jazz team was like 93, 94. And all these old ass teams, like the Bulls, were old, winning 72 games, 70 games the next season.
I think when you say that, you're talking strictly about athleticism, but in the NBA, it's different than in football. Your prime is usually at the end of your career where you're smarter. And those teams, even though they weren't as athletic and probably weren't at the prime of their career as far as athleticism, those were very, very smart teams. One thing with the Sonics that had a problem was they kept getting upset because they were playing stupid basketball. Same thing with the Jazz.
George Karl had a lot of blame for that. But my point is, I'm not denying that those were good teams. What I'm saying is, those teams are not fucking with any iteration of the Warriors or the 12 or 13 Spurs. They're
but those are great teams, though. You know
right, but that's my point. That's my point. Like, that's why no one looks at LeBron James as like, oh, we can't touch this dude.
But I'm saying those are just the times he made it to the finals. So if we're only counting the times that he made to the finals, maybe you got a point. What about when he lost to the Orlando Magic and he was literally favored all season? You know what I'm saying?
But that was like
before then. He lost to the Orlando Magic in like the second round and got dominated by Dwight Howard and Jameer Nelson.
Okay, so that's the same thing. It's like nobody looked at Michael Jordan in 1991 and was like, "Oh, we gotta fear this dude." That wasn't the case. They didn't have no respect for this motherfucker. They were like, "Oh, he's the best player here."
They were saying that he's the best in the league.
Yes, he's the best in the league, but Michael can't win a title. Scorers can't win a title. That was Michael Jordan's reputation until 1991. You know what I mean? Like, Michael Jordan didn't become Michael Jordan, like the one that we all know and revere, until.
It's still a different feel, bro. When he was losing to the Pistons, he was losing to the championship Pistons. When they got going, he was losing to champions. LeBron has gotten beat by non-champions and bums, man.
Who? Since 2009, who? The Magic made the finals.
I mean, if you want to jump to 2009, but he had 7 or 8 years before that?
He had 5. He took them to the finals in his 5th year as a rookie, bro. Like, what's he supposed to do?
East Conference in the history of planet Earth.
Okay, so now you're just moving the goalposts. Which is it?
Scaring me. Y'all look like y'all
Which is
stab
it?
Each other.
So I'm saying, but he makes the finals. Oh, but he didn't play nobody in a weak East. You know what I mean?
I didn't say he didn't make it. I just
say LeBron can't win, bro.
In my humble opinion, I mean, the GOAT discussion it's all subjective at the end of the day.
I agree.
It's all very.
I still think it's Michael.
Of course, by far, because I mean, we saw other players say Michael Jordan is not human. This man is like a god disguised as a human being playing basketball. I think really, and this is just because I like LeBron James. I think with LeBron James, you see that he's human because the first NBA Finals that he reaches,
I don't know if he's human either.
They got Well, he's the greatest player playing today. I will say that.
Facts.
Top of his game, he's an elite player. I think when you saw the Miami Heat super team form and you saw him get smacked in the mouth by the Dallas Mavericks, I think that may have curved a lot of people's opinion about LeBron James because
it justified a lot of people's opinions about LeBron James.
Especially if you Skip Bayless, because a lot of people, LeBron James really was kind of self-anointed as a savior, as King James, the chosen one and all of that. So I don't think that's to any fault of his own. I think a lot of people put that on him because he was put in very big shoes at the time because the league, outside of Kobe Bryant, the league really didn't have a face at that time. So the league had to make a new face to transition to the next phase, to this next generation. But also, very highly touted. I mean, he was pretty much, if Michael Jordan had been good enough to come straight out of high school.
Yeah, but I think if Michael would have came straight out of high school, it still would have. I think LeBron is the best. I think he met expectations better than any rookie in history.
By far.
I think even if Jordan would have came out, I think he would have been good, but I don't think he would have been as good as LeBron James coming into the NBA.
And you see in the doc that Jordan had to grow into that.
That's what I'm saying.
In the first couple of episodes. Yes.
I don't think he would have
the bat.
Yeah, I don't think Jordan would have been prepared to come into the NBA because I think LeBron lived in an age would helped you grow up faster. Like when Michael Jordan went to college, he was still basically a kid mentally in my mind. He had never been anywhere, you know what I mean? So it would have been different.
Small town kid from North Carolina.
Yeah, it'd have been different for him coming in and traveling. Like LeBron came in doing the AAU circuit. Yep. They were already on traveling teams and doing so he was a little used to the life already, you know what I'm saying? They're playing basketball year round.
Even the way they grew up, because I live in North Carolina. So I've been down to Wilmington plenty of times. We go to the beach down there. They got the Michael Jordan Highway when you drive into it. Man, it's country as fuck out here. I'm not going to lie to you. Outside of Raleigh, Durham, Charlotte, and Greensboro, it's country. So Michael Jordan's a country guy.
But the one thing I want to say is that, don't get me wrong, when you hear me talking about LeBron, I have him number 2 on my list. Like, we're talking about who is the best player of all time, but there's still 1 and 2 on my list. And I don't think it's a question in my mind. You know what I'm saying? Only thing that might make me throw Bill Russell in there is because he won a championship as a coach. And people don't realize how cold that was. But other than that, LeBron and Jordan, they are the best players to ever play in the league. But I get tired of some of these arguments, like when you say LeBron is better because he's a better all-around player. Now, the one thing I do want to say, to your point, Marcus, is I don't blame LeBron for anything after 2014. Anything after 2014, I don't blame LeBron. Like, none of that's his fault. But the shit before 2014, even that the Spurs were able to exploit LeBron from limitations in his game. All they did was set in the paint, and LeBron could not make a jumper. That right there is a limitation to your game that directly compared to Michael Jordan is a problem if you're talking about the greatest player of all time. So right there, that's what I'm talking about with LeBron. But as far as being all-around players, yes, LeBron's an all-around player, but Jordan's an all-around player too. Kobe was an all-around player. The difference is being an all-around player means because they can all rebound, they can all score. It's about assists. It's about vision. They can all see. If you look at any of those clips of Jordan, he saw everybody on the field. He was controlling the offense. The problem is he looked over there and said, I do not want that motherfucker to shoot the ball. So he did not pass it to him. But it's not like he didn't see him. LeBron will pass it to him.
I think the thing that really separates Jordan and LeBron, and I'll just kind of end my take on the debate on this, front offices. Jordan had a great, no matter how you look at it, post the Jordan doc, he
We'll
had
touch
the
on
better
Jerry
front
Krause.
office. He had the better general manager. LeBron, the Cleveland Cavaliers literally gave this man nothing, and that's why he left.
But they gave him what he wanted. The only time that they didn't give him what he wanted was Antoine Jameson when they wanted Amari Stoudemire, which would have been a worse trade. You know what I'm saying? If they would have given him Amari.
That's all speculative, though. But
but he always.
I think for me, we'll move on to Jerry Krause here. To me, it's Michael. But if LeBron wins the title with the Lakers, I think it's over. I think LeBron James is the best player ever.
I agree with you on that. I mean, if he wins the title,
it's hard to deny at that point.
He bring the Lakers from the ashes and win a title, then you gotta kind of give it to him.
And to be able to say, by the end of LeBron's career, he's going to be top 3 in probably every statistical category. I mean, it's going to be hard to deny. So there's really no point of having a debate. So but I'm with you, babe. Like, you know what I mean? It's like. You're talking about 1A, 1B to me. They're both the GOATs to me.
I mean, he could get busted with a crack pipe tomorrow. He's still going to be one of the greatest players to ever play the game. So
he retired right now. He's locked in at 2 at least.
Pretty much.
So let's get to Jerry Krause, y'all. So KP, you kind of alluded to it. This isn't anything new to me because I read the Jordan rules. I'm familiar with the 90s Bulls. We all grew up around that time. The level of abuse for Jerry Krause, some of it was was self-inflicted, but some of it was just like, man, like that made MJ look like a small human. You know what I mean? Like, we all talk shit, and there's a level of talking shit against somebody who's gonna talk shit back, and then there's a level of talking shit to someone isn't gonna defend themselves. Like,
a lot of bullying going on.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that was one side of Jordan that we didn't know existed. And I feel for Jerry Krause in a way because I think he was a guy that kind of wanted credit. I think, he's a smaller person, so maybe there were some, I guess, the Napoleon complex issues where he wanted to feel validated. Look at me playing therapist and shit. This is crazy. But at the end of the day, I think that he was really a proxy for Reinsdorf. I think a lot of things that went down, I think the team breaking up wasn't his fault. I think that was more Jerry Reinsdorf. And we all know dead men tell no tales. Unfortunately, Jerry Krause passed away. And I think they're kind of, Reinsdorf is kind of throwing him under the bus because as the owner of the team, you can't sit here and tell me.
Yeah, because he had to have the backing of Reinsdorf to do this. I mean, I don't care if you're the GM. You still have to run all that shit by the owner.
You got to answer to the owner. If he wanted that team together,
Reinsdorf coming on being like, I told him not to sign it. I told him not to do this. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's total bullshit. I mean? And so I think Krause, for what he did, obviously he was a genius. And, you find out afterwards, after that Bulls team was broken up, he had a plan to go younger around Michael Jordan. I think the plan was to bring, and this is just a
Tracy
strong
McGrady.
rumor, but Tracy McGrady and Trey make some more.
Now, Tracy McGrady confirmed that.
So I think he wanted to bring Tim Duncan in or something. It was wild shit. So wild shit. But
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. Like before this doc came out, that's the one thing this doc did is it changed my opinion of Jerry Krause. Because I stopped liking the Bulls because of Jerry Krause, and I stopped liking the Bulls because of Reinsdorf. And I agree with you, KP. Reinsdorf had a lot more power than he's leading on to on this documentary.
Of course,
you know what I mean? It's like he's putting all that shit on Jerry Krause. He started off shitting on him, saying, he was the scout for the Cubs, but everybody told did he say the White Sox?
Yeah, he said the White Sox.
White Sox.
Reinsdorf he owns them too.
Yeah. But he's gonna say everyone told me not to deal with him, but I did it anyway. So you knew right then he was gonna go in on him. But man, looking back, dude was a genius. Dude had a plan.
He was.
And I'm one of my, like you said, you had a hot take, man. I don't blame him for everything that went on. And when you look back,
Phil Jackson shit was the hard part. To bring in Tim Floyd to replace Phil Jackson, I thought that was the.
I even got so if you look at what he did. So if you're a person, you want to be appreciated, right? Everyone looks at that and they paint him in a picture to be arrogant. But you also want appreciation. Like you're building these teams. You're putting these teams together. You have foresight that no other GM has by going to get a Scottie Pippen, going to get a Horace Grant, building, trading, and he's doing all these things.
Finding Tony Kukoc
overseas, like an elite scout of finding talent. And all you hear about is Jordan winning his championship. Well, what about me going and finding his talent, bringing his talent in? How about me putting a team together? Hey, I went and found Phil Jackson when Doug Collins was here and they were going to the playoffs. I made the bold decision to let him go after the playoffs to install this new offense. I gave y'all Tex Winter. You know what I'm saying? You got Tex Winter. You got Phil Jackson.
I found Phil Jackson coaching in Puerto Rico. That's how good I was.
Like I came and I did all this, and now they shit on me all the time. They act like I do nothing. You know what I mean? They act like I'm nothing. So no, I made you Phil Jackson. I can replace you, Phil Jackson, because that's how you feel.
In my mind, I think Jerry Krause was the human embodiment of Denzel Washington's rant at the end of Training Day. If that was a person, that was Jerry Krause.
Real.
Yes.
Real. And he's like, and y'all don't give me any respect. Now, the one thing that I will say, he overplayed his hand because, as they said, he knew that Jordan was attached to Phil. If that's the point, you can't rebuild without Jordan. Like, everyone knew Scottie was leaving. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And even saying Kerr and Kukoc, they traded them. They weren't up for contract. You could bring those guys back. And you can say what you want about Kukoc, but everybody says Jordan left and they still made the playoffs. They made the playoffs because that's the first year that Tony Kukoc came over. That was Tony Kukoc's first year. Now, he wasn't Jordan, but he could lead them through the regular season. That's why when Jordan came back and got with that team, they were so dominant because now it is a big three. That's how good Tony Kukoc was. So, I mean,
it was a watered-down league.
We'll get into that, but I think Jerry Krause got a bad rap. I think they should have gave him more respect. I think Jordan's personality, even the year where they're saying this is what made Jordan hate Jerry Krause when they were trying to make the playoffs. That year, they had nothing to play for. Jordan already broke his foot. He already had scouted Scottie Pippen. That's what they were talking about. So with Jordan doing that and making the playoffs, they pushed them back to the 8th seed when they could have been a top 5 seed, and they could have got Scottie Pippen without trading for him. Even though Seattle was dumb as fuck, and they ended up getting the pick back anyway for nothing, which became B.J. Armstrong. But that just shows how good Jerry Krause was. He traded up to get Scottie Pippen, got that pick back to come back and get B.J. Armstrong, which was both foundation players, Scottie Pippen, B.J. Armstrong, and Horace Grant, all in like 2 drafts.
Jerry Krause, like I said, he was. If y'all think Danny Ainge is a great GM, which he is, Jerry Krause is better.
Krause is the man.
Yeah. So one thing I'll say about another thing about Jordan Doc, kind of touched on Krause. Jordan was petty as fuck, and like I get, it was his homicidal competitive, all this stuff, but like And like you said, KP, he's a sociopath. But the thing that bothered me the most was like he was petty, but he was like kind of a bitch. Like he would pick on Scotty Burrell because he knew Scotty Burrell wasn't gonna do shit. He would pick on Steve Kerr, but it was like if he tried to yell at Bill Cartwright said, "I'll break your fucking legs. You'll be ground, Jordan." And he never said shit else to him. And it was another cat like
but he would freeze him out, wouldn't let him get fed. Then he would bully him in other ways. You know what I mean? He would keep it because he had so much control over the team. Like they talked about, they just touch on those things. Like they kind of just glance over the fact that they wouldn't let Horace Grant get food on the plane.
Right. Exactly. You know what I mean? It's just like Michael Jordan was, and so he even said like this doc is gonna make people not like me. And I always knew Michael Jordan was an asshole. It's just like the generation of Twitter and social media wasn't around. If they were, y'all, us Michael lovers, if he was around today, oh God, you'd hate him. Y'all would legitimately want this man in prison.
A lot more haters. I mean, I think he still wins you over in the end because, like I said, I think he's a lot more like Kobe than we think, and I think he would wear on your personality from the stories. I mean, that's why I said Kobe's like a clone, man. Ain't no difference in him talking bad to Smush Parker.
Man, I don't know. Kobe was way more savage than Jordan. Like the story came out where Kobe went to a practice while he was injured just to say goodbye to players that he knew were getting traded.
Yeah,
I mean, but
hard.
then again, you know,
I mean,
to Marcus's point, I mean, the whole character in Space Jam was based on Jerry Krause. If that's not bullying, I don't know what is. You know, calling Scott Burrell a hoe and all that. I mean, the nigga was crazy. But you saw the softer side of him too.
And I think another thing is it kept him from having true friends. Yeah, he had people that wanted to be around him and in his circle. It also he had people that wanted to gamble with him, but that's why I think he got so attached to his bodyguard because I don't think he had any like friends. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that really kind of made me seem like, man, Jordan's really a hoe is when Charles Barkley said something about him in the media. And Barkley's like, man, we've been like brothers for 20 years. I say something about him in the media, and now I literally haven't even talked to him. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah. And that's one of my issues with Jordan. And that's something that he's going to have to reckon with, right? And that's like – and I think that's why, like, his hardcore fan base, like, they take on that Jordan personality, that insecure. Like, you ever try to just have a conversation with something? Like, we've got a friend who happens to be a co-host on this network that if you even say anything, if you say Jordan didn't shoot 100% from the free throw line, he coming down your throat just to say LeBron ain't shit. You know what I mean? So, it's just, like, that insecure, like, I don't know what it is about Jordan and Jordan fans that, like, every slight is so personal. Like, I don't get it.
Well, I will say, when you are arguing against someone that's a non-Jordan fan, it's not always intelligent conversation either.
Oh, I agree with that.
It's almost like arguing with Trump voters. I mean, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, what?
I know a lot of.
What are you talking about?
I agree with that.
I know guys our age who will probably listen to this podcast and have something to say to me about it, but guys our age in their 30s that will like defend LeBron James to the ends of the earth. Which LeBron James is an amazing human being, and I'm not slighting LeBron James, but let's just
off the court, LeBron James. I mean,
he built a school, man. He built a
Jordan.
school. Like that puts you up there. Like if he died today, he's automatically getting the pass into heaven. But that's crazy.
I mean, but it's not like we saying that like, you know, KD is the GOAT. It's like it's not. You know what I mean? LeBron James is a worthy. It's a discussion that's worth having. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like if someone was like, "Yeah, Steph the GOAT," I'd be like, "All right, shut up." Yeah. You know. And that's how people treat the conversation.
But like I said, it goes back to where people believe something so much, you start going back to say things that infuriate the other side. Like if I say to a LeBron fan, like, LeBron can't score. Yeah, he can. Yeah. Like, he could probably score at will. If LeBron wanted to average, like, 50, he probably could.
He probably could.
So, the thing is they're the same type of player. Like, if Jordan wanted to play like LeBron and pass and get assists, their stats in the 80, 88, 89 season where they played him at point guard, he went crazy, and everybody say that's one season. But what people forget is, after that season, Doug Collins got fired, even though they made the playoffs. So
and how did they not touch on that in the doc? Like, that's what I wanted. Spend more time on 80s Jordan, where it's like, if you really wanted to prove how good Michael Jordan was, like 80s Jordan, if you spend a couple episodes on that.
Oh yeah, I know you're talking more episodes. Yeah. Yeah, but so when Doug Collins was there, that was a me first offense. Like that was an isolation style offense. So he got stats. So when they played him at point guard, he got stats. But what they really don't, they tried to tell you in an uncertain way. The reason why Jordan don't have LeBron stats is because they played in the triangle. You know what I'm saying? The triangle, has there been a 10-plus assist person in the triangle? And the people that they've tried to put in the triangle to pass, it doesn't work because it's more of like hockey passes that gets to people in the right spot. Like Jordan might make the pass every time, but it still might end up going because he's there to draw double coverage. He draws the coverage and then he makes a decision where he shoots or not. It's going to cut down on assists. So no, because when you talk basketball, you have to talk styles because systems matter. Just like when you talk quarterbacks. Systems matter. The system can put you in and be James Harden. When James Harden was in OKC, he didn't get those stats. Put him in Dan Antoni's offense. Now he looks unstoppable and he gets stupid career stats. But if you were to take him and put him in another offense, James Harden wouldn't be getting those stats. Would he still be an all-star? Yes. But he wouldn't be putting up the stats that he's putting up.
I'll never forget watching Jim Clemens, who was a Phil Jackson disciple in Dallas. Try to run the triangle with Jason Kidd, and it was awful. Like you guys have like one of the best point guards in history.
Yeah, you're better with a Derek Fisher, a Steve Kerr, a outside knockdown shooter being at that top of the key position. Because usually the spots where you put your scores in are usually somewhere in the mid range where you're sucking down the paint and you're kicking it out to shooters.
Yep. And to your point, Beatty, it's like, actually I was listening to Tracy McGrady on the All the Smoke podcast today. He said the same thing. He went from when I was in Orlando, I just led the league in scoring 2 years in a row, putting up insane numbers, which he was for those of y'all that don't remember. Once he got to Houston, he said the first conversation with Jeff Van Gundy said, well, you won't be leading the league in scoring.
Yep. Same thing that happened to Jordan.
Yep, and it didn't really change T-Mac's career, but that was different circumstances. But it definitely helped Jordan's. Yeah,
said Jordan, you're not, and he learned he realized how, just like Kobe, they realized how easier that made the game for them, and that's why Jordan wasn't willing to go back. Okay, if y'all want to let Pippen go and rebuild, Jordan didn't say if Pippen leaves, I'm gone. He didn't say if Rodman leaves, I'm gone. He said if Phil Jackson leaves, I'm gone. So just do your rebuild, keep Jordan, and let go of the ego just because Phil Jackson is getting all the credit. That's the one thing that I fault Krause for. Just because Phil Jackson is getting all the credit, who cares? You know what? You should be confident in yourself to know, and this is going to build on your legacy if they continue to win. So who cares? Bring Phil back.
Get to him.
And now
I do believe
Reinsdorf came back to Phil and did try to go around Krause. I believe that story, but if you listen, he did the same thing in 97. So now if I'm Phil, I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Yeah. Why? I'm not dealing with this same situation again. Y'all told me that I'm out no matter what. Now you want to come back after I win again and offer me another 1 year. You know what I mean? No, I'm just going to move on. So I feel like, but like as KP said, Reinsdorf's lying because they played that first clip and then they kind of went to commercial and then they played the second part of why Reinsdorf said that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So it's kind of BS.
I think, and we can talk about the 99 season. I've just had this argument with some Jordan fans that are convinced that, and I want y'all's opinion. If the Bulls come back in 99, I don't think there's any way Scottie Pippen was coming back. I know he said in the documentary, but I think at the time he was not coming back.
I think Jordan knows that too. I think that's why he threw him in last. Normally, Pippen would have been second on that list. He threw him in last because he knew Pippen wasn't coming back.
I think there was zero chance Pippen coming back and a 50-50 chance on Phil coming back. And I think regardless, because let's say they have this team with Phil Jackson. I don't care what they do because Pippen wouldn't be there. I don't think they win that title in '99. I think that Spurs team.
Are you talking about if they come back with Tim Floyd and Jordan?
Yeah, I don't care. I think if they came back with Pippen and Jordan, I don't think they win that title.
I'm just talking about coaching period. If they come back with Tim Floyd as the coach, because I don't think Tim Floyd and Jordan coexist. Well, I think he has no idea how to deal with a talent like Jordan, and now Jordan has won 6 championships, and it's a lockout season.
No way. KP, what do you think
on that? Definitely. So if it's Tim Floyd, Pippen, and Jordan, even if you had that core intact, Phil was still going to go to the Lakers, and that 2000 Lakers was going to be a hell of a team to deal with. And so I really
No. You're 2 years out. 99. Phil took the year off
in the future. So
that was the year Spurs won in the lockout.
Yeah, 99.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't think they would have beat that team. Not the San Antonio Spurs.
Tim Duncan averaged 27 and 14 in that finals. Now, but the knock on it for me is so in that same
didn't they play the Knicks?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I don't think they get past the Knicks.
So that same season, we saw Patrick Ewing and Grant Hill go down to pretty much ended Ewing's career. He popped his Achilles. Grant Hill hurt his foot. But the thing that people who automatically slate the Bulls in for the 99 champions is it was a condensed season where they was playing 4 games in 5 nights. These cats barely got through the 98 season. The Jazz couldn't make it through the 98 season or the 99 season. Like, it was just a different the league was not set up for an older team like that to win a title. Hence why the Spurs came out with a young stud and were able to pretty easily win that finals, even though they struggled coming out of the gate.
Yeah, because they didn't condition like we did. They didn't condition like they did. In fact,
that's
today.
one thing. That's one reason why I'm kind of grateful that Bulls dynasty ended what it did, because it would have been heartbreaking to see him kind of like go down like old Yeller, like where it just falls apart in the end.
And it would have.
I don't know, man. Jordan came back after sitting out 3 years and still averaged 20, was dropping 51 and made 2 All-Stars. So I don't know what Jordan could do. You know
what I mean? He was caught, but he would have been. He wasn't gonna win a title. You know what I mean? Like the way that the 98
he would have made them like playoffs and maybe got to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost to the Knicks. You know what I mean? It have gave some closure to Patrick Ewing at least, because he beat Patrick Ewing more than anybody.
Well, but you got to remember, Patrick Ewing didn't even play in that finals because he tore his Achilles.
Well, didn't he go out when he went out in the East Conference Finals? Didn't he? When did he go out?
I think he went out in the first round of the playoffs because when he popped his Achilles. Yep. Okay. But so. I think that imagine if that had happened, right? Like if the last image of Michael Jordan in a Bulls jersey is him getting put out by the 8 seed Knicks in '99. You know what I mean? It's like the way
is that better than the last thing you saw was in the Wizards uniform?
I mean, I wish that hadn't happened, but I don't think it had any effect on it. Like he was going to come back anyway, but. I think
even that season could have been salvaged if Jermaine O'Neal didn't foul Kobe. I hate Jermaine O'Neal for that. It could have been another, even though it was an All-Star game, it was an epic All-Star game. Probably the best All-Star game I've ever watched. That and the 2001 All-Star game. Yeah. But if Jermaine O'Neal doesn't foul Kobe, you get another storybook ending for Jordan.
Yeah. So, but that lasting image, I mean, that last 40 seconds of basketball in the 98 finals is the most incredible stretch that you can have as a player. I wish, selfishly, that we'd never seen him touch another basketball again, that the Wizards years didn't happen, and that was, I mean, that's the way it's supposed, that's every child's dream. Game shot of the NBA Finals, winning a ring, and riding off in the sunset like John Elway. He's the only person that did it right.
I like when they start asking everybody, "What'd you think?" Oh, get the fuck out of the way. He passed it. He's definitely shooting this one.
Yep. So,
what y'all think of Rodman? I know we kind of touched on Rodman in the Rodman episode, but overall, what did you guys think about Rodman and kind of his antics and how Phil and interacted?
Rodman has always irritated the fuck out of me, to be honest with you. Even like, growing up in that time, I never was a Rodman guy. Like I love Detroit Rodman, San Antonio Rodman, Dallas Rodman, Chicago Rodman. I couldn't stand it. I didn't find Rodman to be that like interesting. I don't know if interesting is the word, like that, like polarizing of a person. You know what I mean? Like it was like he's just a weird dude who does weird dude shit and is like starving for attention. And now I know why, because he was fucked up. But it's not like I didn't know that in the 90s.
Dennis Rodman played in the NBA Finals. Flew to go kick it with Hulk Hogan, joined the NWO, smashed Carmen Electra, and basically saved the United States of America from a nuclear holocaust with North Korea. He's a fucking legend in my mind.
I got nothing on that.
He's a fucking legend. I'm saying, and Marcus Q is not giving him his proper due respect, and it's kind of pissing me off.
Respect on his name. You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of pissing me off that he ain't respecting the legend Robin.
I got no rebuttal. My bad, Worm. My bad.
Nah, man, but I think the dynamic, I think Phil kind of really broke it down and made me understand while Rodman was in the best place. And that's the magic of Phil, man.
Yep.
Phil knew people. I mean, he had a guy that knew basketball. And I'm not saying Phil didn't know basketball. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't so concerned with the X's and O's of basketball. He was more of a professional psychologist, you know what I mean, that could get in the player's head, and he knew exactly, like, he didn't care if Rodman went off, because he knew when Rodman came back, you were going to get 100% from Rodman, no matter if he had a hangover or not. And in Jordan, you don't hear Jordan say a bad thing about Rodman. Why? Because Rodman had the same mentality as Jordan. Like, he don't care what you do off the field. Like, off the court. I might have to go get you. I might have to cuss you out, but Rodman's going to eat that. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to hurt Rodman's feelings. You can say whatever you want to Rodman. He going to let you talk your shit. Rodman's going to be Rodman. Just let him go to Vegas. Let him go to NWO. I need a break. I don't want to play all these games. And every player cannot exist for every team. And that's kind of my argument with – this is off on a tangent, but that's kind of my argument with Draymond Green. I think Steve Kerr is the same type of coach as Phil Jackson. Like, he knows how to manage certain personalities, and it does, even no matter, because he's not going to throw you on the bus. No matter what happens in the locker room, y'all might fist fight in the locker room, but coming out, Steve Kerr is going to be a real dude and be like, nah, we had our differences, it's all good. That's not going to affect anything. So if Draymond were to go to another team, I don't think he's as effective, and that's the same thing I feel about Phil. I think that's underappreciated quality in a coach in the NBA, because it's not so much about coaching and talent. It's more about managing multi-millionaire personalities.
Egos. And you're right, and that's what made Phil Jackson great. I think that gets lost because we saw how the Lakers kind of crumbled, and but Phil Jackson, if anybody doesn't think that, I think you can make an argument for Greg Popovich being the greatest coach. But Phil Jackson definitely belongs in the discussion. And to your point, I was actually just having the conversation, because Big Facts, you and I both think that the Warriors are going to be back. I think Steve Kerr is this generation's Phil Jackson. It wouldn't shock me if he had he's got 8 rings. It wouldn't shock me if he got to 11.
Hey, check this out. We think that Steve Kerr is this generation's Phil Jackson. Well, is Doug Collins that generation of Mark Jackson?
It looks like it.
I mean, it feels a lot like it.
Yep. So,
what y'all think of the stuff about Jordan's dad's death and stuff?
Man,
you think that was tackled with the whole retirement and did that enlighten you guys any?
So, in my point of view, one, it was heartbreaking to see him after which finals was that? The 96 or the 97?
93 finals.
Well, no, you talking about
when he came back after retirement.
Oh, yeah, that was 96.
Laying
on the floor crying. It tore a lot out of me. And I thought that it was really crass of the media to just automatically assume it was due to his gambling, which we don't know. The sunglasses interview didn't help.
But I used to say that all the time, and they kind of made me feel like shit for thinking it.
A lot of people, assumed and speculated that his actual retirement was a secret suspension and all of that. But I just really think, a lot of mental anguish was there. I think that he was kind of his body was kind of breaking down, and then going to three-peat, not thinking you could do that again. And then the things that happened with his dad, I just think he needed a break.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but do you feel like that he would have retired anyway? Like he says?
Even if his dad...
I
don't think he would have. If his dad didn't die, I don't think he would have.
He's saying that he talked to his dad about it. He's been consistent over the years of saying that before his dad even died, they had already agreed that he was going to retire. And that's why I like I believe that was in episode 6. That's why I believe him. Episode 6 made me believe that. And the reason why I did is because we all know how much it takes out of you to go to 3 straight finals and win. You know what I mean? The energy that he was playing with, 44 minutes a game, pushing everybody, grueling. And then he was the first player to have that much media attention. I think that it was mentally exhausting for him because he had cameras around him all the time. He was playing all year round. He's coming off the Olympics. I think he would have. I think he always comes back, though. But I think he was mentally exhausted. I think he was going to retire.
We don't know what his home life was like either, because him and his wife had a tough time, and we don't know what he was dealing with just off the court to that extent, because, like, to your point earlier, the documentary did have a lot of fluff in it, and so that could be maddening to a person, especially if you have a very demanding job and you have all of these extra things going on in the background too. So I think to your point, he still does retire and he does come back. I don't know if he plays baseball, but I think his dad dying.
I think he always plays baseball.
I think his dad dying had a direct impact on him playing baseball because I know that was his first thing, and then I think him and his dad really had that love and share of baseball. I think he might have did that.
The Bulls kept him on the same contract. I always had a question of how could the dude just pop back up, and it's because the Bulls never took him off contract. Ronsdorf never took him. He had the same baseball contract as he had in basketball. I don't even think that's legal today. I don't think you can do that.
Minors too.
How can you take your basketball contract and just transfer it to baseball?
Because Ronsdorf owned the team.
Man, listen. All I know
here you go.
is that if LeBron James would have took a year and a half off after the 2014 finals, motherfuckers would have been on his head.
Oh hell yeah!
Heavy.
Not if his mom died.
Man, listen.
If his mom died, I don't think so, bro.
The way they talk about LeBron, man, being mentally weak, if this dude he went to 8 straight finals, dude. 8 straight finals.
He lost 7 of them.
Okay, but if he'd have took a year off just because he was like, yo, I'm the best player in the world and it's mentally exhausting, people like, Michael, like that never would have flown.
But they would not have said he's mentally exhausted. If he just did it,
they'd have been like, he's mentally a bitch.
If he did it because his mom died, and we all know how close he is to his mom, I think
he get a pass.
Because we're sympathetic to that, man. Now, the one thing that I didn't know, and I'm very, very curious about, does Jordan come back if there's no baseball strike? Does he come back?
Hell yeah, because he knew it was a watered down league and he could try to steal that ring.
Here you go. KP, let's get a real answer. Does Jordan come back?
In March,
if there's no baseball strike, I think he still comes back.
There's no baseball
I think he
strike.
still comes back because it's just for the simple fact that he's a competitive motherfucker. And
it sounded like he was bored in that dock. He didn't have nothing to do. They try to use him as a scab player, and that kind of was disrespectful to him. If they don't do that, I don't know if he comes. I'm saying he always comes back in my head. I don't know if he comes back.
I think I think he's gonna come back anyway, man. Because I don't think that he was built to be a 2-sport athlete, kind of like in the vein that Bo Jackson and Prime Time.
I don't think he ever intended to be a 2-sport.
He just needed
athlete.
something to do. Because I think if he was at the house with nothing to do, he probably would have been at the track or in the casino or doing whatever. But
I think Michael Jordan looked around the league and in 94-95 only saw that who in 94-95 it was like, okay, Orlando. Who is better than me in this league?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the right mindset because I think Jordan always looked like that.
Yep.
So I think he think that anytime I come back, I could win. So saying that would be like, oh, I think this is an easy win. I think every time he's on the court, he believes it's an easy win. So I can't go with it. I don't know if he ever thought that.
I think he thought he could have got that 95 ring, and
if you
that all the Bulls were missing was him.
It was the competition shit talking because didn't who said, oh damn man, like why you wasn't it Byron Russell? Yeah, he said, oh why you leave?
Yeah.
You know, why you go? Like I wanted to guard you, I could bust your ass, and that's what brought him back.
If you're right, he would have came back the year before because that Bulls team was way better, and he went to every game. And if you just want to eat, he would have seen Tony Kukoc and been like, man, that team is really good without me. If I come back, it's gonna be an easy win. So I think if that's the case, he comes back then. I don't think he comes back when the Bulls are struggling and this is a worse version of the year before and they don't look like they're playing. I think he only comes back because of the baseball strike.
I mean, I think he did want to give a year to baseball. Like I do think that like 94 was never in play for him to come back to the NBA. I think it was always going to be.
Maybe
95.
it's something we didn't see.
But I'm saying that I don't think that even if he's going to come back, he comes back mid-year. Because I think he looked at that boy and said, I'll finish out this baseball thing and see how I do, and then come back in 96. I think he only came back mid-season or at the end of the season because of the baseball strike, and they disrespected him by trying to use his name and use him as a scab, and that's probably because he was worth $3 million playing in the minors. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
So if you're $3 million playing in the minors, but
all I know is I don't believe half shit Michael Jordan says because it's probably skewed. Because he can't tell the damn truth. So, you know, you never know what he says is true.
Man, Jordan is a hater, bro.
Which I want to get to. let's talk about the Isaiah Thomas thing. And Isaiah Thomas, for as big, and no one's defending Isaiah. Isaiah has been an asshole forever. But when he's on screen, he's just the most charismatic person. You like, how can anybody hate this dude? Isaiah Thomas is so nice.
He looks young,
but,
too. He like 60 something.
Man, I don't even know how old he is. He looks like he's 40. You know, but yeah, Jordan. When they gave him the iPad with, I don't care what Isaiah said, he lied. It's like, I kind of say the same thing about you, MJ. Like, we don't know what is true, and like,
but why didn't it show MJ the clip of Isaiah's point? Like, I like that they illustrated that, and I don't know who curated that. I don't know if. But he said that when they got beat by Boston, which Boston was the best team in the East, and if it dominated, that was their team that they had to get past, just like the Pistons was Jordan's team. Once they got past Boston, he wasn't lying. They showed the clips. They walked off the court. And so he said, I just thought that's how it was done when someone takes your throne. We just walk off the court. He's like, I didn't think it was a big deal because Boston did it to us. And then they showed the clip of Boston doing it to them. So I just think that's Jordan being Jordan. Like, oh, they disrespected, blah, blah, blah. Why?
Sociopath.
Like, it is
Jordan.
what it is. Who cares?
And Isaiah even said, he was like, man, if we'd have known that this was going to still be talked about 25, 30 years later, we would have shook their hands and walked off the court.
It wasn't that big of a deal. It was just kind of like, this is what it is. We're not going to shake their hand. And George just so disrespected and petty by it, and everybody carried that. I'm with Isaiah. So what? I mean, it's the same thing. I think we had that a couple of years ago, wasn't it? Who was that team that they were talking about the same thing? They didn't shake our hands when they walked out. Who cares?
Who cares?
Right.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah.
What about when he hated on the Chicago circus, the Chicago cocaine circus?
They was
drinking,
drinking,
snitching.
He confirmed that. Did he hate it on Horace Grant and said that? Oh yeah, Horace Grant was the one that gave the Jordan rules up. He was hating on everybody.
As if
Scottie Pippen was wrong for sitting out the season.
A book that accurate was as if Sam Smith only had one source for a book that was that accurate. You know what I mean? True. I mean, I'm sure it probably was Horace. It was probably 30 motherfuckers in that organization giving Sam Smith ammo.
And Krause. I'm pretty sure Krause.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and, you know, Horace was I think that's one thing that I learned because I always knew Horace was good. I didn't really, I think I was too young to remember how good he was in Chicago. Horace was really good.
Yeah, that's another reason why, because, you know, they kind of got the ball out of Jordan's hands. And if you look at, I believe it was Pippen, Horace, and B.J. Armstrong all made the All-Star team when Jordan left that season.
Yep.
So that season, those three people made the All-Star, and you added Tony Kukoc. That was a really good team. That's why I don't think you say that Jordan looked and said this would be an easy win, because I believe if he thought it'd be an easy win, he comes back in '94 and we could definitely get this championship with this team. But I mean, I agree, man. Horace was really good, but I actually realized how good Horace was in the Orlando doc.
Yes.
The Orlando doc really showed how good Horace was, as opposed the Bulls didn't really give him the credit that he deserved, and that's a lot because of Jordan. But Horace Grant was really good, really, really good. And
you know what's funny is one of my first memories of playoff basketball. Like, I mean, because I'm a little bit younger than you guys, so it had to be 95 or 96, whichever year he hyperextended his elbow in the playoffs. That was actually the first playoff game I remember, is how he got jammed up in between two Bulls players, hyperextended his elbow, and the Bulls swept him out the playoffs that year.
Yeah, that was I think that was 96. Yeah, 96.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But let's get into this Scottie. Scottie came out and said that he's angry and upset about how he's depicted in this documentary. What y'all think about Scottie, man? Because he definitely looked like he's a hoe in this documentary. It changed my opinion of Scottie, but I don't think that's all just the editing. I mean, he admitted to most of it.
So,
Scottie, go ahead, KP. Actually, I'll let you take this. Go ahead.
I've never really been a Pippen fan, because just from kind of being in some of the places he was at a certain point in time, mainly Conway, Arkansas, I heard how he treated people. And I heard how he was in college, because Scottie has a little bit of an ego.
No tipping Pippen?
Hey, no tipping Pippen. Like, I know a guy that I respect. Like, he was a kid, tried to get an autograph from Pippen. Pip just ignored him. And I heard around campus, at the time, Scotty was he was a little jaded, man. He was the damn towel boy. So, he probably didn't get the most play from the ladies. And I just heard once he his star was on the rise. Now, this is all allegedly hearsay.
Allegedly. KP gonna get us sued.
The opinions of KP do not reflect those of the 2Smart Network and all of its affiliates. But I just think that, man, he had he had a huge chip on his shoulder, but. And then, of course, man, when your wife leaves you for Future, that doesn't help you either. But allegedly.
At least it's the Future. Future, the hottest person in the game right now.
Give or take. But anywho, I just think, man, honestly, I mean, it really just. And I had a big debate because a lot of people were saying that, it's Jordan's fault that Pippen got a bad contract. I'm like, no, that's Scottie Pippen's fault that he didn't handle his business and he got a bad contract. So, I mean, it didn't really change my view on him one way or another. But then you saw in the documentary where he didn't want to go into a game. He quit on his team. And even though he apologized after that, I'm like, you know what? This a hoe ass nigga for that. But so I can't blame Jordan for that. But I mean, he's always going to be a little jaded, even though I've considered. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, well, Jordan was blessed to play with the second best player in the league. I don't think he was the second best player in the league at that time, but I definitely thought he was like top 20. Nah. Maybe top 15.
He was top 10.
Top 10. He was top 10. He probably was top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, because the debate.
I'm just gonna say what top
you say. We're years away, but you remember that the big debate was who's better, Grant Hill or Scottie Pippen, and it was a legit debate. So we can't go like if you think.
No. Yeah, we're talking about that's a small forward position, but I don't think he was ever considered better than Hakeem, David Robinson. Not in '94.
I don't think Hakeem got
Charles Barkley.
I don't think Hakeem got the respect until he won the championship. Like, I know Hakeem was good, but I don't remember before Hakeem won the championship, him really being respected like that. And
you don't hear it now. But that's what
I'm saying. I don't think Hakeem was ever really respected like that. I think Scottie had far more fame. Wrong, people were saying that Scottie was better.
But you could say Charles Barkley. I mean, I think they would have put basically every '90s big man above. I mean, just that's the way the game was back then.
That was a big man era in the '90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think he was ever top 5, but top 10 certainly. The game was just different back then.
You go, Q?
No, go ahead.
I got a rant. You know what I mean?
So I will say the thing about Scottie Pippen. So I've heard a lot of all of us living in Arkansas at some point of our lives. We've probably heard all Scottie Pippen stories. The no tipping Pippen thing is for real. But the thing that he came off like I never really knew about him. I know he's from Hamburg, Arkansas. I got 2 questions after this documentary. He became that old black man that just talks slow and smiles. Like, yeah, I remember when we were out there.
When Michael left, it was just one of those situations
all slow. But I got a question.
I think that's just how they talk, though. I think Pippen probably always talk like that.
Does Scottie Pippen have furniture in his house, or do they get all this in one take? Because you saw everybody.
I don't think that's Scottie Pippen's house.
The BET
right
house for that.
That's an undisclosed location for Scottie because he ain't had no furniture. I don't even think he changed his clothes. He was like, "No, we knocking this shit out today."
I need all my clips right now. Yeah. I don't think that's Scottie Pippen's house, man. So. Scottie Pippen, the thing that I don't like about this Scottie Pippen doc and Scottie Pippen saying that he's mad, I actually think that Jordan tried to portray him in the best light possible and give him all the credit that he could, but Scottie Pippen was a hoe. And I'm going to tell you, like, all the stuff that you're talking about with Pippen is decisions that Pippen made. Like, he actively made a bunch of bad decisions. You got to remember, when we're talking about these contracts, we're not talking about the football. We're not talking about football. We're not talking about franchise tags. In basketball, you get your money. I don't care if the contracts were $3 million back then or $20 million. You got your money. So even if Scottie would have signed a 5-year contract or the standard 5-year contract or 4-year contract at $3 million per, that's still $15 million. So saying that he signed a 7-year contract for security, those contracts are still guaranteed. So why would Jordan be responsible for you to sign a 7-year contract? And they really weren't clear about the contract because I believe he signed that contract in '89. Because what I read is that
91, I think.
But this is the thing. They said that he signed the contract in '89 because they said that he signed the contract and he didn't waive his other 2 years in the rookie deal. So that's why it ended up being so long, where it actually ended up being a 9-year contract, because he agreed to that contract in '89, and he didn't waive the last 2 years of the contract. So that was actually like a 9-year, $20 million contract, and he took it for security. That's never in anyone's best interest. If he signed a 4-year contract for $12 million, you mean to tell me he couldn't support his family with $12 million? You know what I mean? If you're talking about your risk and injury, that's on him. When he's decided to sit out the season in '98, that's on him. He actively said that he did that to screw the Bulls. I'm going to enjoy my summer, and then your contract's not up. That's a contract year. Why would you do that during a contract year?
That was bad on his part.
Extremely.
Yeah, you're not screwing the Bulls. You're screwing yourself. You're giving up all your leverage. That's the worst year you do that. If you're gonna do that, you do that in '97, not in '98.
Well, Scotty's just a small town Southern. The Scotty ain't smart.
He just
ain't
made a
business
bunch of
savvy.
bad decisions. When he was the man and they ran to play for Kukoc to get in the game, him sitting out, that doesn't help. Like, I think Scotty painted himself in a bad view, and I think he need to take responsibility for his actions, and that's the problem.
Scotty's an idiot.
And every time Jordan was trying to say like, oh man, you know, Scotty went out. I didn't know what I was gonna do. Back spasms. Oh, I'm hurt. You know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know.
Hey, them back spasms are real. Hey, somebody who's dealt with them.
No. But yeah. No, I agree. And him playing through it, you can see it. Him doing the post moves and giving all he can. I'll give him all the credit. But that's what I'm saying. During those times, Jordan is like, well, we don't know how he's playing. Like, they're bigging him up. Like, I don't see any blatant disrespect besides for the shit that we kind of already knew.
Well, he called him a hoe for the migraine game, basically.
He was, though.
Bro, have you ever had a migraine?
I don't know that he had a migraine.
He said he had a migraine. Like, I mean,
I can't believe Scottie Pippen at this point.
But you believe Michael Jordan after everything.
Kinda.
You know what I mean? No, if you've ever tried to do anything with a migraine, it is debilitating. I mean,
well, I could have let him slide on the migraine game, but just the whole sitting out thing, and then the contract thing, that's what made me lose respect for him.
It builds on your credibility.
And then the point. So you remember after that episode, we had talked about it in the group chat where I was talking to some other guys, and they were like, oh, well, LeBron never would have did this, because for some odd reason it became more fuel for the LeBron Jordan debate. And I'm like, well, Michael Jordan's not this man's agent. And like to your big facts, to your point, it's really almost a taboo subject for players to talk about money amongst each other. And so that was the thing that really just it made no sense to me, man. It really did not.
Now, I will say where Jordan is a hoe, because I'm going to get on Scotty, I'm going to get on Jordan. And the one he probably had a problem with is because Jordan got on there and he said, yes, Scotty was wrong for that, which he shouldn't. Because if you're not going to talk about somebody's contract, you can't come back on the flip side and then say Scotty was wrong for that. He shouldn't have did that. And then when he said, after that, he said something like, now I got to start the season. It goes back to, it's not about Scotty, it's about you saying that you got to start the season, where he got some real issues going over here with life, and all you worried about is yourself, as being Jordan being selfish. So I feel Scotty on that point. He should have did what Phil said. When they asked Phil said, no, I don't have a problem with it. Scotty was going through his own thing, blah, blah, blah. That's what you do to handle that. So I do feel Scotty on that part.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, because I always wondered if Michael and Scotty were friends off the court, and I don't think that they are.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You know what I mean?
Scotty said that LeBron was the best player in the NBA, the GOAT, and then Michael gave him that call and said, hey, you want me to cut it off? I cut the faucet, and then Scotty got right quick.
Yeah, but I'm in agreement. Scotty didn't do himself any damn favors in life. He made bad decisions left and right, filed for bankruptcy. Wife got dicked down by Future on his watch.
In his custody.
It's just, yeah.
In his custody.
It's just the way it goes, man. For Scotty, that's just how they roll. But what about BJ Armstrong? How did that come off to you guys? Because I remember BJ being good, but like I don't remember BJ Armstrong being all-star good.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot how cold he was actually, man.
Bro, I did not, and I'm corny because I used to be the biggest BJ Armstrong fan. Everybody out there, I was a realist as a young child, you know what I'm saying? So, my cousin be like, I'm Jordan, I'm Pippen. You know what I'm saying? I spot up in the corner.
I'm BJ Armstrong.
Hey, man, I remember
BJ Armstrong.
You and BJ, the only ones who wanted to be BJ
Hey, you had
Armstrong.
to be in NBA Jam back in the day.
Yeah, man, BJ
That's
Armstrong
true.
was my guy, bro. So I was a huge BJ Armstrong fan. I think he became an all-star. I believe he went to the Warriors.
Hornets.
And he played
Hornets.
But I think he went to the Warriors too. Yeah, I believe BJ played for the Warriors too. But yeah, they talked about him with the Hornets. But yeah, I like BJ. I like the fact that he also became an agent. You know what I'm saying? So he's a pretty successful agent out there. So I believe BJ is KD's agent, isn't he? Or he was?
He's repped some big players in the NBA. I don't remember what it is.
No, he's Draymond Green's agent.
That's it. He's Draymond Green's agent.
Yeah, he's Draymond Green's agent.
Let's look that up through the advantages of modern technology, shall we?
Which part are you looking up? The Draymond
the
part
BJ
or the
Armstrong part? So let's see. Bulls. Yeah, he did go to the Warriors in the.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So he was traded by the Raptors in the '95 expansion draft, and then he went to. The
Okay,
Bulls.
I knew he was on the Raptors. Okay,
He
so yeah, random.
He went back to Chicago. He was in Chicago's front office as a special assistant to Vice President of Basketball Operations Jerry Krause, having replaced John Paxson. Then he got replaced by Paxson as the GM when Krause resigned in 2003. Analyst, and now he's an agent for Derrick Rose, Bismack Biyombo, Emmanuel Muade, JaVale McGee, Denzel Valentine, and Josh Jackson.
Boy, you about to put us to sleep, KP. Damn.
Man,
Cut the list off.
He got some eggs on there too.
You could have stopped at
right?
Bismack
I had to go
Biyombo,
through the
man.
whole
We didn't
thing,
even
man.
know
I'm
all
trying to
that.
get BJ his flowers over here where he can still smell them.
Yeah. You ain't getting no money from that Denzel Valentine contract.
So, fellas, all right. What's the if there's one doc? Let's wrap it up. If there's one doc that you got to see of any athlete, I know they got the Tom Brady one, but that does not seem interesting. What's one 10-part documentary on one player that you want to see?
Got to be Kobe.
Deion Sanders.
Well, Prime too, but I got to say Kobe at this point. Not just because, unfortunately he left us, but I just want to see the dynamic of some of those early years, especially those years where him and Shaq kind of were into it and imploded. I want to see that. Now that we saw Jordan, I got to see the flip side of that and see Kobe. I know we got Kobe doing work, and I know that there's rumored to be one over his final season, Mamba out, but I would say Kobe first and then maybe second. We got to get somebody that's a character, man, like somebody that's just wild.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
we've had that before. It's got to be either Mike Tyson or somebody that's charismatic. You know.
Let me tell y'all something.
I said prime time. Listen, did you see the prime time music
Must
video?
Be the Money.
You too young to remember the
Must Be the Money.
If you don't remember Must Be the Money, I don't even talk to you really.
But listen. There's only one right answer, and neither y'all got it right. The only answer is Tiger Woods. That's the only
Tiger
answer.
Woods? Early Tiger Woods or cheating Tiger Woods?
Well, you want to see the whole
Tiger
story of
motherfucking
Tiger
Woods. It's a 10-part documentary. Tiger Woods.
That interesting.
I mean, it'd be interesting.
Are y'all crazy? Y'all know how crazy his dad was and what he did to his mom and all types of shit?
But I don't think that makes the documentary interesting.
It does because it shaped Tiger Woods. Do y'all realize how dominant Tiger was in an all-white sport?
Yes, but I don't think that's overly interesting.
How, if Michael Jordan is interesting, how is Tiger Woods not interesting?
Q, you a rare breed.
Y'all
Most
crazy
niggas
as
ain't gonna
hell.
Connect to that because most niggas don't watch golf.
Plenty of niggas watch golf only because of Tiger. Almost every nigga I know that watches golf is simply because of Tiger.
See, we're having two different arguments here. We're not arguing about how great Tiger Woods
We know
is,
how great
right?
he is.
Tiger Woods is yes. But the argument is, as a whole documentary, 10 parts. Do you need 10 parts of Tiger Woods? Yes. The family part be interesting.
2 hours of Tiger,
that's part
man.
one.
Like I got a Tiger.
Yeah. The other part is when his life falls apart. That's 2. And then maybe his journey to the Masters. That's 3.
I
That's all
recognize
I
the greatness
see.
of Tiger
That's how I
Woods,
know,
man.
y'all.
I got a Tiger Woods Funko Pop that I'm looking at in my office right now. So that's my sign of recognizing him. But
America,
come on,
audience, listen. I'm sorry that we got a bunch of lowbrow niggas on this network because us astute, educated Negroes, we want a 10-hour documentary on Tiger Woods.
You want to see three episodes of him banging chicks in Denny's parking lot.
Like,
that's the only knock on Tigers. I mean, he was hitting for par off the course
you
too.
eating
thing
breakfast
I respect
with.
about that, Tiger said, "I ain't paying y'all hush money. Get the fuck out of here." I respect that.
I believe it. Get out of here. What y'all gonna do? Y'all can't afford real lawyers.
Give me
I got a
Give me
team.
a basic 2.5 hour 30 for 30 over Tiger Woods. I could deal with that. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
Like, if I gotta see a 10-parter, it's gotta be over. Gotta be Kobe. I mean, hell.
Bro, did
Before-
y'all? Now I got a question. Did y'all read that CBS article that I sent to you guys?
Which one? That proves that
Y'all
I
didn't
didn't
read
read
the
it.
CBS article? Yeah, so I sent you a CBS article that was talking about stuff that's left out of the document, and that shit got some of the
I did
craziest
read that. I
stories in
did
it.
read it.
It's got some
I didn't read
interesting. I don't know how factual it is, but some of the stuff, you go look it up. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a CBS article talking about things that were left out of the last dance, and they pretty much said because you got to get approval and all this other stuff. But but there were some interesting stories. Like they said, they talked about Bobby Knight. We all know that story, which they didn't really mention. They said, I need a center. We'll just play him at center. And he was trying to tell the Portland coach how good he was. But they said that Portland was in a position, not only did they make a bad draft pick, but some of the offers that they got, like the Bulls in Portland got. Like the Sixers offered the Bulls Dr. J or the number 5 pick and Andrew Toney, who was the all-star point guard for the Sixers at the time. Number 5 pick became Barkley. So they basically offered him an all-star veteran point guard and Charles Barkley. Bulls said no. Seattle offered Portland Jack Sigma because Portland was dead set on getting a center, and Jack Sigma was like an all-star, and they said no.
Jack Simmons was good though.
Yeah, but the craziest trade is Houston and Portland. Portland offered Houston Clyde Drexler and the number 2 pick for Ralph Sampson. Because as they said, they were dead set on getting a center. And Ralph Simpson was good at this time. He was a twin tower. You know what I mean? And Houston said no. They could have had Clyde Drexler, Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon at 1 and 2. And Houston said no because they wanted to keep Ralph Simpson.
Just a different league, man.
That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Like, because everyone already knew Jordan was good. You knew you were getting Hakeem, and you keep it for Ralph Sampson?
Y'all do realize that the NBA didn't start becoming a smart league until like 5 years ago. The NBA is literally littered with dumbass GMs from.
Bro, like I said, if you look at Krause's resume, you gotta say he's the GOAT. It's either Krause or what's the other dude? Red Auerbach.
Red Auerbach.
The shit that they pulled off is just incredible.
I watched the Lynn Bias documentary the other day, man, and I mean what he did with that was classic.
They were set up for another run. The only thing that killed that run was Lynn Bias on cocaine.
Lynn Bias and Reggie Lewis in the 90s. That was another way. They almost got there again.
He had a heart problem, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Auerbach was still doing his thing, and Krause the same way. Krause set up. If you look at the trades that Krause made, it's insane.
I wanted to bring this up real quick because I felt we forgot about it. What do you guys think about the shoes? The whole thing with Nike just blowing their quotas out of the water with Jordan and with the debut of the Air Jordan 1.
And that's where I go when you start talking about LeBron's impact off the court and like building the school. I get all that, but what Jordan did for the shoe game is probably the most impactful thing ever in the NBA.
Unquestionably.
Unquestionably, he made all the money change. Like, if you look at it, Jordan, that was another story that they had in that document where they talk about the Knicks were trying to get Jordan at the time where the cap was $24 million. But what the Knicks were going to do is they were going to pay him $12 million and then give him like this illegal contract from like a hotel or something. And David Stern signed off on it. Well, that leveraged him to get $30 million. But because of the shoe contracts, like, now that's why players are making $30 million now, and they're making more on shoe contracts than they make. Shoe contracts are these players' real jobs. When you really look into the game, these players' real jobs is for Nike. That's their job. They've been paying for them since they were a kid in AAU, sending them to college if they went. They make $20 million a year coming into the NBA when they make 4 or 5 in the NBA, but it doesn't matter because they make $20 million contract. It's the craziest thing, and the Jordan is the reason why the money has absolutely changed in the NBA.
Are y'all Jordan shoes guys or no?
I used to be, but now the price is so ridiculous. I feel like he's exploiting the black community.
I have a pair of 11s, a pair of 4s, and a pair of 5s. 2 pairs of 13s that I never wear. Like my He Got Game 13s are my gym shoes.
13s are my least.
The 11s
so
are my favorite.
I only acknowledge. So the 12s are my favorite. The 3s, the 1s, and the 11s, and I think the 6s. But every other, the 13s I thought were so ugly. The 14s. What was the one with the blue stripe when he came back with the Wizards? You remember the blue stripe across the bottom?
No, that's the 16s.
Oh, that's
17s?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't 12.
No.
16s.
Oh,
Yeah,
16.
those were cold.
The 11's my favorite
I stopped counting
one
after
of all
14.
time.
I don't really look at anything.
I got 14. A lot of LeBron James's actually. Like when he came out with the 12s, I got like 4 pairs of those and a pair of 11s. I want a pair of Kobe's, but
I've got no LeBron James shoes.
I got a pair of LeBron James and like when they were like LeBron 3s or 4s and they looked like boots and shoes.
Yeah, and that's how the Jordans was after a while. Like them 20s and 21s look like moon boots.
Yeah. My favorite Jordans are the 1s, the 3s, 6 and 8, the 11s and the 13s.
Man, them 12s were all because the 12s was my first pair of Jordans.
See, my first pair of Jordans went into the 14s. My mom wasn't paying that shit.
I made my Lays and B's. My mom and dad copped them for me.
I had Reeboks.
I had Gary Payton. Not Gary Payton's. I had Jason Kidd's. I had Grant Hill's. But my first pair, 97, was the black and red 12s, and I love them things. And then as I finally got older, it's funny because I could never hoop in Jordans. They heavy as fuck. But I could always hoop in Kobe's. Kobe's will always be my favorite.
Not the ones with the big ass arrow on the side, but the other ones.
I did too.
And then I had a pair of KGs, and I had those Gary Payton Son of Glove shoes. I thought them shits was.
I had the Barclays.
I do like the fact that Jordan hooped in those ones, and he came off the court telling the truth. They fucked up his feet.
You can't hoop in them.
You don't need to be hooping in Jordan. They got all kinds of special additions to those shoes. Why they can hoop in those? Those are not.
Whenever I see
stock market, those are just stock Jordans.
When I see cats hooping in Jordans, I'm like, how? Because A, they heavy as hell, and B.
Yeah, I'm just gonna make.
I don't know how y'all do that. They just ain't got no padding.
See you guys break down some of the most iconic basketball sneakers over the years. Like, just say you got to go into the Grant Hill Feelers, some of these other joints out here.
Yeah, I love those.
I had the Grant Hill Feelers. That's the only shoe I had was the Grant Hill Feelers.
Yeah, I love those Grant Hills, man. Grant Hill, I think. Because I growing up, we didn't have the Grizzlies in Memphis, so I always liked the Shaq and Penny Magic, and I love the Sonics. Those are my two teams.
The pennies was the code. What's the one with the blue like wave shit on the side?
The foam posits. They like 200, 220 now. I'm like, how are y'all justifying that? They was like 85 back in 95. How y'all doing that?
Iverson questions.
Yeah, I never fuck with the Iversons. I had Shaqs. I think I had one pair of Shaqs because my dad was cheap as hell, and they was like $20.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not the answers. I think it's the questions.
I remember those with the red with the 3 reds. Anyway, man, before we get out of here, anything else y'all want to touch on real quick?
Yep, hands down.
Jordan's the GOAT. I don't want to hear this LeBron talk. And like me and KP was talking about, man, it really comes down to like decision making. I don't want to hear that LeBron's the GOAT because he sees the court, he makes the right play. Fuck that. At the end of the day, I want my best player to know that it's winning time. And I asked this question to all LeBron fans, and they kind of go quiet. How many iconic shots do you know that LeBron had in the playoffs to win a game? Not performances, not 30 and 20 games, not none of that shit. How many times did LeBron had a ball in his hand and said, "Hey, go win it for me"? And I can only remember
Indiana 2 years ago.
That's why I said I can only remember a couple. Got that one. I got the Orlando. Shoot it to win in the second round, like Game 3, to keep from getting swept. I don't got a lot. But if you think Jordan,
you could say that game. Career. You could say that game. Game 7 of the 2013 finals. I mean, he made the last shot to kind of put that game out of reach. It was still some time left on the court or on the board, but
are you talking about Game 7? Nobody cared about Game 7. They won that easily.
No, in 2013.
It was Game 6. No, So you're talking about
Game 6. You're right.
It was
Game
game
6.
6 where he hit the 3 before Ray Allen hit the 3.
Yeah.
He hit the 3 to bring it within like 1, or something like that. But he didn't hit the game winning shot. That iconic shot is Ray Allen's.
When they came
Maybe I'm thinking of the
being 3-1. All right, so
hold on. Performance or shot? Because he got a lot of great performances.
Because the performance, the Boston one, is stupid. Boston game 6.
I would damn near say he has more
definitely.
playoff performances than Michael. Like that.
Some incredible just
performances
like,
he has of a shot. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got that.
Yeah.
Like there's only like 2 shots, I believe.
He ain't got game 6 98
king,
finals
but he ain't
or
got-
game 1 97 final shot. But
Jordan, Jordan got a bunch of those though. I want to kill on my team. Kobe got more. Shit, Carmelo Anthony probably got more than LeBron.
yeah, but they ain't either one of them better than LeBron. So, all right, man. That's it. That's all. Next week, we're going to come back to you guys with a podcast of why I think the league was watered down in the late 90s. KP, what we got on the what we got on Sexy Sperm Dad coming up and the Pumperooski podcast.
What was it, Monday? But we got John Singleton, so we got the John Singleton tribute up, man. Check us out there.
Yeah,
me and the homie Sweet Lou, who's supposed to be here today, but he's on his grind. So shout out to Sweet Lou.
Love it.
Pumperooski, man. We got a lot to talk about, man. We got to talk about Dak Prescott's crazy ass not taking a $175 million contract, but I'm sure we'll get into that this weekend.
Justified. Anybody ever heard me on football Pumperooski?
Man,
I do not think he should have took that contract. Only Cowboys fans think he should take that
Pumperooski's
contract. And I don't think he should sign until they give him $40 million because he got all the
sit there and
letters. That's
argue
neither
for
here nor
like
there.
45 minutes, but it's fun.
And we've got another episode of Random Nostalgia coming at you. We're going to do 2008 this week. We've got a brand new podcast called The Black Content Corner with your girl KB. Memphis' own, Philly resident as of now. So we got a lot of good stuff coming for you guys on the network.
And don't forget, we also got that episode of When the Smoke Clears, also guest starring KP, where we give you our top
these
10
niggas didn't even have
male
Pockets number
MCs
one, boy.
of all time. You got to check that one out because there's a lot of good debate on that.
Disrespectful ass niggas, boy.
I don't have his number one.
Yeah, he ain't number one. Jay number one. Jay number one,
Jay
man. I'm just
catalog.
gonna send you Jay tracks where Jay talking his shit so you can pay respect, man.
All right, y'all. That's it. That's all. Check out the 2Smart Network, 2Smart Dummies, and every podcast we have coming your way. Peace.
Peace.